Live from the CBS Bay Area studios, this is KPIX 5 News.
Right now in KPIX 5 and streaming on CBS News Bay Area, polio makes a comeback in New York. Why Bay Area doctors have concerns and what their message is for parents.
They don't want to regret later and say, I wish I had done this.
Thousands more doses of monkeypox vaccine are on the way to San Francisco. That enables clinics to open again next week. And
so you never fly straight in?
I don't. Some people, some Mavericks do.
We hear from a pilot on what could have led to a mid-air crash that left 3 people dead in Watsonville. Good morning. It is Saturday, August 20th. I'm Devin Feely. Let's start with a quick check of our weather with First Alert meteorologist Darren Peck.
Going to be a bit warm out there for us this afternoon, Devin, as the temperatures climb back up into the low 90s today. And you can see it's perfectly sunny here over the bay. So we're not getting much of the marine layer this morning either. We're already in the low 60s in San Jose and 61 in Concord, but those numbers are going to go to the low 90s today. So if we look at our forecast, inland locations, some of those warmest spots used as our extreme example, going to be in the upper 90s today. It'll be right around 80 for much of the bay shoreline, and we'll be in the mid 60s for much of the coast. Mountain View, you'll go to 87. Santa Rosa hits 94. I'll see you with a complete forecast coming up in a few minutes. Devin, back over to you.
All right, thanks, Darren. Now, we begin this morning with a disease that we thought that we had eradicated here in the United States, but it's made a comeback. We're talking about polio. A case has surfaced in the United States and has also been detected in New York City's wastewater system. KPIX 5's Andrea Nakano spoke to Bay Area experts on what this means and who could be affected the most.
At least here in the U.S., there's been a belief that polio has been eradicated. But what this case shows is that some of these diseases are just one plane ride away from becoming a problem.
I saw 1,000 cases clinically easily.
UCSF epidemiologist Dr. George Rutherford worked at the CDC in the early 1980s when Taiwan experienced its polio outbreak.
You're seeing paralysis, and it's patchy paralysis.
Now polio has resurfaced in New York, where a patient is experiencing paralysis. Epidemiologists believe that patient came in contact with the virus overseas after visiting a country that still uses a weakened live virus in its vaccine, which then mutated. Dr. Rutherford says improved science is helping to detect these diseases in its early stages.
The technology has gotten out, is gotten way out in front. And also, I think there's also, a lot of caution because of COVID. People don't want to make a mistake, the same mistake twice.
In the U.S., most people are already vaccinated for polio, so the concern for an outbreak is fairly low.
What I am worried about are pockets of unvaccinated communities, even in California and in the Bay Area. So if people are not vaccinated, they could be at risk.
This is coming at a time where overall vaccine confidence saw a dip and some kids missed getting their usual vaccinations during the pandemic.
If you look at the doses that were missed based on 2020 and 2021 data, we think that about 14 or 15 million children have not been caught up to date in the whole country.
Doctors estimate overall roughly 30,000 lives are saved every year in the U.S. from deaths due to diseases that are now preventable with vaccines. They hope the resurfacing of polio will encourage parents to get their kids caught up on all their shots.
They don't want to regret later and say, I wish I had done this. So when I was a young pediatrician, I would see a lot of these diseases every single week. We just don't see them anymore because kids are protected. So we want to keep those kids safe.
Andrea Nakano, KPIX 5.
The supply of monkeypox vaccine in San Francisco was running low, but here's the good news. There is another shipment from the feds on the way. Now, both the feds and state have informed San Francisco's Department of Public Health that 1,600 vials of vaccine are coming to SF General and other clinics around the city. The shipment will be enough for roughly 8,000 doses, and the city's only walk-in clinic at the hospital will open again this Monday at 8 o'clock. In East Contra Costa County, residents can now schedule appointments for the vaccine online. There are clinics in Richmond and Concord. A California serial killer who confessed to killing 13 people in the early 70s has died in prison. Herbert Mullen died of natural causes at the age of 75 in Stockton, where he was incarcerated. His 13 victims ranged in age from 4 to 73. One of them was a priest in a confessional booth in Los Gatos. Mullen was denied parole last year. At the time, the Santa Cruz County DA declared him still a high risk to the community. Federal investigators are trying to figure out what led up to a mid-air collision between two planes in Watsonville that left 3 people dead. The planes are coming into land Thursday when they crashed into each other. Now, one ended up in a field nearby. The other smashed into a hangar at the airport. So far, officials have not released the names of the victims. The NTSB plans to publish a preliminary report in about 2 weeks. Their final report will be due in about a year or two. Watsonville, like many small airports, does not have an air traffic control tower. That means it's up to pilots to talk to each other to keep everyone safe. KPIX Mary Lee spoke with pilots about some of the challenges and precautions.
We spoke to a longtime pilot and flight instructor here in Palo Alto. He knows all of the small airports in the Bay Area, and he says he often avoids the Watsonville airport because of how dangerous it can get.
I find flying here safer than driving in Cupertino.
Flight instructor Orhan Bashir has been flying for more than 15 years. Even before his students can fly on their own, they need to know every safety procedure.
Checklist goes line by line. You have to follow the checklist. For every state of the flight, there's a checklist portion, like before pre-flight checklist, engine run, taxi and pre-taxi, before takeoff, run-up checklist, climb checklist, cruise checklist, descent checklist, pre-landing checklist. They follow that.
He teaches his students to watch for other pilots in the sky and to always communicate with them, especially at airports without air traffic control towers.
Now, non-towered airports, you tune into the frequency. There's a frequency, dedicated frequency, and you talk to that frequency. Everybody else listen to it. So one time only one person can speak. So they know your intention, what leg you are, how far you are, what's your intention, how are you going to come to that airport. You're going to fly over, turn left, turn right. For every leg, we communicate that the others hear that.
Bashir says the deadly mid-air plane crash at the non-towered Watsonville airport likely could have been avoided.
One was a very slow plane, 152, one of these.
Okay.
The other one's a very fast plane, multi-engine like this.
So it's a 2-engine, right?
2-engine.
Yep.
The multi-engine was coming straight in.
Yep.
And then this poor guy was turning to base to final. And then turned base, and instead coming straight in, it was going to final, and he said, well, you're coming too fast, I'm going to go around.
So it seemed like they crashed into each other?
The audio recording appears to have captured the last words between both pilots. It's a key piece of information that NTSB investigators will be focusing on.
Watsonville area traffic, Twin Cessna 740 Whiskey Juliet, 1 mile straight in, 20 full stop. Looking for traffic on left base.
Yeah, I see you. You're behind me. I'm gonna go around then, because you're coming at me pretty quick, man.
I heard the one was coming straight in. That we don't come in straight in on tower airport. We can fly over the runway, we check out, we get into traffic pattern, we check the other traffic, and then get in, and then go to the final.
So you never fly straight in?
We don't. I don't. Some people, some Mavericks do. They come straight in, they don't want to spend more fuel, but I do not, and I don't teach that.
Bashir knows the Watsonville airport very well. He says he's had to tell his students to avoid the airport because it just wasn't safe.
Sometimes I had to leave there with my student because some people were weak in communication, some people were not following the proper procedures to enter the traffic pattern, so I found it dangerous and left the traffic pattern. And sometimes I confronted people that you're doing the wrong thing.
I spoke to several flight instructors today, and all of them say the same thing. It's so important to see and to avoid. They say ultimately it's up to the pilots for their own safety. In Palo Alto, Mary Lee, KPIX 5.
A federal appeals court has ordered the Justice Department to release a secret memo related to Russian interference in the 2016 election. Now, the court says back in 2019, Attorney General William Barr and the Justice Department improperly withheld portions of that memo. Now, Barr told Congress at the time that Special Counsel Robert Mueller did not have enough evidence to prosecute former President Trump for obstruction of justice, and he cited the confidential memo in his conclusion. But the appeals court said yesterday the memo actually says Mueller did not exonerate the former president, and it should now be released. In another legal development, the Supreme Court has temporarily blocked an election in Georgia. It's bringing back a lower court's ruling that the state has adopted rules that violate the Voting Rights Act by diluting the power of African-American voters. Now, the case involves elections for the 5-member Georgia Public Service Commission, which sets utility rates. Now, each member represents a district in the state, but all are chosen in statewide elections. And Black Georgians in the lawsuit say they don't want other districts appointing their representatives.